insights and experience shared. Today we have a special guest with us, Will Welsh from Caltech, and he's here to share a little bit of his experience in building and growing an MSP based out of the United States, and also his experience in working with Jumpfactor as a partner to help in some of that growth in the last couple of years. So a little bit of a background I'll share, and then I'll hand it over to Will. Caltech is a managed service provider that Will purchased in 1998 with a partner and has been growing steadily over the last 20 years. The company has been very successful in a couple of different sectors, specifically in the healthcare area and in the banking sector, that being a good portion of their revenue. They've won awards consistently over 8 years, being one of the best places to work in Texas, and have also been listed as an MSP 501 award winner, being one of the best rated MSPs or managed service providers in the United States. And so here we have Will. Welcome.
Thank you, Zamir. I appreciate you including me here and look forward to sharing a little bit.
Awesome. Well, so Will, I'll hand it over to you maybe to share from your perspective just a little bit for the viewers to understand about Caltech and where you were as a company in terms of growth leading up to, let's say, it looks like about 2 years ago when you engaged with Jumpfactor. Kind of what was the operating mode for growth and the process you had before, and then what led to reaching out to find a partner to help with that?
Yeah, so thank you. So I think like all managed service providers, we're all looking to find a secret way, right? A way to increase our sales. And it's a challenge. Almost every MSP that I've ever come in contact with goes with kind of owner-led sales, right? If I can get to the table, I can close the deal. That's kind of their mentality. And my mentality was a little bit different. I wanted to empower our sales team to be able to go out there and deliver a great solution to our customers. And what better way to do that than to allow them to work directly with prospects and clients alike and close those deals on their own. So we went through many iterations. We had 2 or 3. Well, first off, we started out with just outbound calls, right? Dialing for dollars. And that's a challenge that very seldom results in fruit. We did get a few deals that way, but our guys were beating their heads up against the wall, and none of them enjoyed that. And so we kept this search, or I guess I would almost call it a quest for inbound leads. How are we going to get inbound leads that come to our guys? Our sales guys are phenomenal. We had trained them well, and they were great on their own. And then, but how could we get leads coming to them, seeking us out? And so we went through many iterations of that. Of course, we did, all different types of marketing. And we also worked with 2 or 3 different companies. It was actually 3 different companies that claim to do a similar thing to what Jumpfactor does. So what was interesting there is that we never got results. And we, I had a marketing guy here who he was doing his best to try to deliver those inbound leads. And he was partnering with companies that he could find who claimed they could deliver those inbound leads. Funny enough, one of the reasons that we ultimately engage with Jumpfactor, and Zamir, you'll get a kick out of this, is that on LinkedIn and in my email inbox, I kept getting these emails from Jumpfactor that were very compelling and led me to keep asking him, hey, why have we not checked out this company? What do we need to do here? They're finding a way to get all the way to my inbox, and most people cannot do that. So maybe they have a little secret that they know how to get to people all the way to people's inbox or to where they're viewing online and can generate those inbound leads for us. So your marketing to us is ultimately what got us to thinking maybe these guys know a little something. So that's kind of what the beginning of it was.
Wonderful. Yeah. And that's great. Thanks for sharing the context. I think it's important for people to understand that, of course, you can grow to a certain extent with traditional networking and sales efforts, but that tends to tap out after some time. And that's where then adding on other channels that really bring prospects to you can be very effective. And so I know one of the things that we had worked on early on when we started the engagement, it looks like there was a need for a complete refresh of the web presence to be able to drive inbound traffic and turn that into actual tangible leads that would turn into revenue. And so one of the initiatives we had alongside doing SEO, content marketing, and so on was overhauling the website. But that's something we didn't initiate until a little bit into the relationship. And so one of the things I'll share is that we obviously saw a lot of KPIs ramp up. However, because the site was limited in terms of CMS functionality and some of the ability for us to optimize certain pieces, the lead level was relatively flat early on. But then when we decided to overhaul the website resulted in a significant increase in the optimization, all kicking in from all the efforts that were put in place. And it looks like from the data, literally within 60 days, the site went live and the traffic and leads jumped from an average of maybe 0 to 2 leads per month up to 8 leads and then 10, 12, and peaking up to an average now of about 23 leads per month. And these are qualified MSP type leads that were coming into the funnel. And from the feedback with your team, I understand that some of them were extremely high value banking type leads as well. So just curious, what sort of impact did this have on the organization in terms of your internal sales process, and what, once the site went live, what these sort of opportunities resulted in for Caltech?
All right. So you may have to remind me what your question was there, because I have another little part to add there. So, as an MSP, what I can say is that Zamir, when he noticed that, we had been a client for a long period of time without a lot of impact, he got involved. And that was the point where we finally listened and said, you know what, maybe we do need to do this website overhaul. The difficulty for us was, and probably for many, is that we had just spent a lot of money getting that website updated. And we had a team that was managing that website that was, doing a pretty good job as far as if we asked them to update it, whatever, but they didn't understand what Jumpfactor was trying to accomplish. And so there was this bottleneck, there was this challenge there to get those leads flowing. So when Zamir got involved and asked us, "Hey, will you do this?" I was like, "Man, Zamir, I don't know. We've failed at this miserably 3 other times. It looks like this is a flop as well." So Zamir, putting his money where his mouth is, says, "If we can't make it work, we'll pay for it." So they spent the time, the energy, the effort to go through and redesign our website, and ultimately, we'll pay for it because they did a great job. The leads that he mentioned, they started coming in the first month. You talk about an excited sales team. We've been telling them for 3 years, "Hey, we're going to get inbound leads. Hey, we're going to get inbound leads." Nothing. This is from other companies and the first period of time with Jumpfactor. Whenever the inbound leads started flowing, that gets sales guys excited. And there's nothing better than a sales guy who is excited. They can sell something whenever they get fired up, and their customers can feel it, or their prospects can feel it, and they want to buy from people who are winners. And so that's kind of how that all went and why it was great for us. And so, Zamir, I think your question there was, it refreshed me on what your real question was. You just had led me to another spot.
Yeah, so I think you touched on some of that, but maybe just to clarify, obviously you started seeing leads come in, the sales team started seeing leads rolling in, and there was some excitement based on that. And that's very typical is, they start seeing, oh, wow, these are leads coming in, but they're actually hot leads that are looking. It's not like we're catching them early and we got to keep following up for months or years. So I'm just curious on, how were they cognizant and acknowledging that, hey, these are, the sales cycle is shorter, and how did these leads sort of differ from opportunities that they were chasing more on a cold approach?
Yeah, definitely. They did get excited. I think as you had alluded to, we have recently merged with Integris, and part of what we were able to do through that was we funneled some of those leads that were more general leads to them, and their sales team was excited as well. So there's nothing better from our perspective than to get to look good by bringing them leads from day one, right?
Right.
The sales teams are easily integrated at that point. The marketing teams are easily integrated at that point. And so I think you guys will continue to find success working with Integris with their sales teams as well. But anyway, to answer your question, yes, they were excited, they were aware, and they love the fact that whenever these inbound leads came, they were looking for what we had to offer. So your website redesign was invaluable to us.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. And of course, the website is one key piece of the puzzle, and your company credibility and track record became evident to people when they hit the site. So what we had to do was bring the traffic in, and then the proper visibility allowed the comfort and trust to be built, and then people decided to fill out forms and start calling, and that's what's happening now. And so, as some context added behind that, from a metrics perspective, the site was ranking for very minimal keywords before, maybe a couple dozen. Today, fast forward, it ranks for over 3,500 keywords on various pages. Large portion of them on page one in major cities, Dallas, Kansas, and several others that we were tackling and have been executing for Caltech. And of course, this has resulted in a good portion of them turning into deals. And so that's the big thing that of course, as an MSP owner, you'd be looking at is what is the ROI? Like, this has to translate into dollars and cents and really make sense for us, beyond just having a fancy, nice looking website. What does it turn into tangibly? And so my understanding is that several deals have closed, and they've resulted in various different retainers. You had shared a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, here that about to date, about 78,000 in MRR, resulting in about $4.3 million in revenue, based on an average 5-year term, has been what has been achieved, and that seems to be growing. Any insight you can share on kind of the type of deals and the quality of opportunities that your sales team was able to see?
Yeah, so the challenge for you guys and for us is that we were really trying to hone in and focus even more on community banking, even more than we had before. So at the same time, when you're starting to generate all these leads, many of the leads are not going to be community banks, right? Those were harder to generate. Although there were good community banks that did come in based on probably self. I don't know what the word is, but basically they self-qualified because they saw that we were bank focused and we were bank specialists. But that said, these numbers don't count the funnel that exists today and that will continue to grow, that are going into the Integris more generalist area. So those are numbers that I don't have, but I know you can probably get by working with the team there. But those are a lot more likely to generate. So for most MSPs, I believe you would be even more impactful than you were able to be for us, which was great.
Yeah, I know that, and I appreciate you sharing that insight. So, basically, you were able to be very selective and take on the deals that you wanted to service, namely, banking and others. But for a more generally focused MSP, and we find this too, is if you're able to tackle and service, let's say, SMBs across the board of various sizes, any seat size, 10 to 250 up to 500, your close rate is going to be significantly higher. Caltech happened to be very, in this case, focused and selective, and still able to generate a multiple seven figures in revenue, and growing. And obviously now with the merger or acquisition with Integris, as we continue to work with them, they are finding ways to capitalize more on the leads and service them at all stages. So that's definitely a relevant call out, I think, for people to understand. And so, one of the things that is always on people's mind when looking for a partner, I think MSPs have often tried in the past to do things in house, certain times piecemeal, a little bit in house, a little bit with contractors and freelancers. And then it brings in the challenge of trying to wrangle and manage multiple contacts. And obviously with Jumpfactor, we bring a team to the table that you get access to. And so that often raises questions about, well, what's that engagement going to be like? How are you going to manage all the different tasks and activities from SEO to content to paid media to web design and social. So maybe, Will, you could share a little bit about your experience with the team in terms of project management, responsiveness, the experience and knowledge of the team, and how would you sort of describe that?
Yeah, so I can say from the beginning, it was very evident that Zamir and Danny could analyze anything and could show you exactly what opportunity was out there. That was something that I had not gotten from others. Others had tried, but they didn't truly understand what they were trying to accomplish, and therefore it was very difficult for us to understand what they were trying to accomplish. In this case, these guys are brilliant, and but from the project management side, Zamir, you're going to have to pay for this one, but you need to pay Mr. Michelle. That guy's unbelievable. Um, he can make he can make projects happen. He can manage internal resources at Jumpfactor. Our resources, I don't even know how he can do that. Our people get things done faster and better on projects that Michelle is working on than any other company that we work with. I mean, when you're looking at updating blog posts, approving pages, he gets it done. And so their system is great, but their people are also awesome. So Michelle, great job, buddy.
Awesome. I'm sure Michelle will appreciate the call out. And it's interesting you touch on something where we try to be upfront with our clients and share that, hey, we're going to be aggressive in pushing to make sure things are moving. And so it's good to hear that that had an impact on making sure things were moving forward. But a lot of times we do try to make sure that everything is obviously very efficient on our end and minimize the involvement from the client side, especially if you're looking for a more hands-off approach. But collaboration is always welcomed, so we can move things forward more aggressively. And anything else that you feel it would be relevant for perhaps somebody looking to bring on a partner to understand in terms of what benefits you saw with and have been seeing with Jumpfactor as sort of a marketing partner to help in the growth?
Well, one of my favorite customers along the way said it best when she said on a reference call, she said, "Stop your search, sign whatever they put in front of you. It's going to be worth it for you. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to work with Caltech." I feel the same way about Jump Factors. Amir, you guys have done a great job as an MSP. If you guys are out there searching for somebody who truly understands this, you have found them. Jump Factor is your place. Give Zamir a call and sign up.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and as always, have appreciated the many referrals and introductions you've also sent our way. Always a pleasure speaking with you, and wish you the best in your new focus and stage in your career and life. And thank you very much for taking the time today to spend some time and share your insights with me as well as with some of our viewers. I think they'll find it very valuable.
Yes, sir. It's an honor. And anytime you need anything from me, give me a call. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Cheers.